And stay tuned for the next episode of Plastic Addict, coming to you 2 years from now. Until then, I am the Plastic Addict, punishing painful plastic, no matter what holiday it is. No, it won't be 2 years from now. I'm already working on it.
Guess I'm gonna have to do this myself then. Hey everyone, Road Breach here, and today we're gonna look at the Transformers Henkei Galvatron. As you can probably tell by the intro, this figure, in my opinion, is not very good. And that's a shame because it looks pretty spangly when you take a look at it, but when you start messing with it, not so much. So, I guess, without further ado, let's just take a look at this thing. As is tradition, we start in vehicle mode. And, taking a look at it, it's actually kind of a nice looking vehicle mode. The metallic purple is pretty well done. The molded detail is actually pretty well sculpted, and it doesn't look all that bad. However, I feel that these little purple panels are kind of out of place, and this back bumper right here, why is that there? Well, this doesn't even become the feet, so it doesn't really make sense why they put that there. And while you can see the hand, I guess it kind of makes... it's not that much of a deal breaker. And honestly, I'd be kind of stretching for some complaints if I were to complain any further about this. But he does roll pretty nicely, I will say that. I would expect him to roll quite nicely because, well, if the treads don't actually work, then at least make it mobile in some way. And, well, I guess this mode isn't all that bad when you take a look at it. Yeah, it looks odd, but it's Transformers. I don't really think they worry about licensing all that often. So, I guess without further ado, let's transform this thing. Come on. You gotta be kidding me with this freaking crap. Finally. And in robot mode, when you start taking a look at him, yeah, you can see where this figure is not all that good. The backpack makes even less sense than how they designed this. If you take a look at these, you see these clips here? These are on translucent plastic. Now, to be honest, I haven't really encountered any problems with these, because, Well, I haven't been messing with the toy as often as somebody would if, you know, they were messing with a good toy. I've heard that translucent plastic actually, it doesn't hold up for a good long while if it's being messed with all that much. And the backpack, I mean, if you try to stand them up straight and you think that you can get them to look commanding and powerful, yeah, fat chance. Because of the stupid backpack, he's gonna just fall over at him when you try to stand him up properly. If you try to just get him standing up straight, oh, well, yeah, you decide to help me out this time, but, you know, any other time you decide to fall over like a bad toy. I'm not exaggerating this, by the way. If I just... Okay, maybe I am, but that backpack is just not helpful. But you know what? Let's take a look at something that's pretty nice. Head sculpt. The head sculpt, it's pretty good. It definitely does look like Galvatron from the 1986 movie. And it's got some pretty good light piping to boot. His eyes glow pretty well. I mean, granted, my lighting right now is kind of unprofessional, but it does light up quite nicely. That's kind of where it ends here. These legs are really weird looking, and these feet are pretty ineffective in terms of keeping the figure up. Once you try to pose him, he really just doesn't want to... He doesn't want to cooperate. And this hand is useless. It doesn't have a 5mm port in it to hold any weapons. And while this is kind of supposed to be a higher end collectible, what is even the point? I mean, this figure isn't to that level of quality. And another bad thing about it, this arm can't move outward. And as you saw, this just slid off, because if you're just sliding this around and it manages to, you know, slant at all, then there's a possibility it will come off. And this backpack, once again, this backpack is kind of annoying, and it's terrible. There's just a bunch of weight on his back, and there's this butt flap. Well, I mean, it doesn't look all that bad, but at the end of it, I mean, there's not a lot of good things I can say about this. And for articulation, it's actually alright. But trying to get him to stand in one of those poses, that's a different story. This figure just looks odd. I mean, this isn't asymmetry we're talking about here. Well, I mean, it's not an asymmetrical design like they meant that intentionally. They legitimately made it this way because they needed the cannon to rotate. And while I do appreciate a rotating cannon in a Transformers tank figure, it ends up hurting the robot mode. But that the tank turret does become his fusion cannon in this mode, and it does come with a missile, but I have since lost it, and when you take a closer look at it, it just looks odd. Detail, it's alright. I mean, you got a Decepticon symbol right there, and the purple metallic sheen on the upper half looks pretty nice. After that, it's just boring. I mean, you can't really move this at all, and if you want to, you're going to have to kind of untransform it a little bit, but then that poses the issue of quite possibly this sliding off and slanting and... Oh, look. Yeah. There it is. And this backpack, I swear to God, this damn backpack. And Oh, whoops. Okay, that was my fault. I admit it. That's my fault. For comparisons, let's bring in some good figures. We have Ultra Magnus, me, from Combiner Wars. Underhoof, we have Megatron. He's actually a good figure. Here we have Titans Return Bumblebee. Here we have Titans Return Weird Wolf, or Wolfwire as they changed his name. Titans Return Astro Train. Combiner Wars Victorion. And last but certainly not least, the MP10. So this figure's around a deluxe. Overall, this figure's not good. While it does look pretty good when you just take a slight glance at it, it's not really fun to handle. With the balancing issues, as well as the lack of articulation in the arm, and the useless hands, this figure just falls flat. And hopefully we do get a Transformers Siege Galvatron. Although I'm not really holding my breath, as I do think the Transformers Siege Megatron is pretty good. And if you're going to buy any tank figure in Transformers for right now, I would definitely recommend to pick up Megatron and avoid this guy. Maybe not like the plague, but I wouldn't pick him up for $90. Kind of like how I had to do with Octane and Astro Train. And I guess that's it. Thanks for watching, and gotta zoom.